Welcome, everyone. We are going to get kicked off with the Thursday, November 6th edition of the Vancouver Power BI Modern Excel User Group Meetup. We've got Alison Pollecutt is here to talk to us today, but before we do that, we've obviously got a little bit of housekeeping that we're going to go through and do here. So the first thing is I'd just like to throw out a big thanks to the sponsors that make this show happen. Skillwave.training is the training company that I run, which has some amazing materials on how to get better with Excel and Power BI. You should definitely check this out. Excel Guru is the parent company of Skillwave and also the creator and distributor of my Monkey Tools add-in, which will help you build better Excel solutions faster. Our next meetups that we have coming up in a couple of weeks, we've got Faraz Sheikh is going to be joining us to be talking about from chaos to control, Excel tips for every supply chain ninja. We will also be doing this with the what's new in Power BI as well, just so you know. So there is still a Power BI track into that, but we're going to be doing a little bit of a hybrid here. And then in a couple of weeks, about a month from now, Marco Filocamo is going to be joining us. This should be a lot of fun. Marco's a riot, and we're going to be talking kind of a lot of like chaos and madness themes coming up for the next couple of meetups here. But he's going to be talking to us about surviving client requests, and I'm very much looking forward to getting both of them on the show. Faraz again and Marco for the first time. This is going to be lots of fun. So those should be open for sign up now. Don't forget to join us for those tracks. Just a quick note on the latest releases to Monkey Tools. The last release was October 15th. This was where we added a new function called the dim values measure monkey, which is a horrible name, but basically what it means is you can very quickly go through and build a calculate statement for every single unique value in a particular column. Not something you're going to use every day, but can be very, very helpful if you're trying to figure out certain things in a hurry. In addition, we also added some bug fixes to our 445 calendar boundaries and lots more there. I have been working on new things. I'm not anticipating to release anything in the next month or so, but I am working on fixing some things and changing some things as well and adding some new features. So there will be lots of good stuff coming up in future. We have just added a new product at Skillwave, which is Ken's Ask Ken Anything subscription. So you can now actually subscribe to this product here without subscribing to a course, where you can come in and basically ask me anything. These calls happen twice per month on Teams. You can submit your questions in advance. They get recorded, and it's a fantastic program where we get to talk about all kinds of cool stuff. Just yesterday, we were actually showing how you can actually mix your forecast sheets in with the data model so that you can actually slice and dice your forecast sheets, which is kind of cool. That was one of the things we covered. I looked at some other Power Query stuff, all kinds of good things there. The key thing there is that these are questions that are asked by my audience with their data so that we can actually come back and give them real world solutions to their challenges. So if you're interested, you should definitely check out that product. The Ask Ken Anything sessions are, of course, included in some of our academies, like the Excel Fundamentals Academy. If you are looking to, round out your Excel knowledge or get somebody else on your team trained, you should definitely check this out. It's a great program with lots of good stuff there. It will give you a good intermediate level understanding of Excel, including pivot tables, data visualization, and Power Query, as well as gives you access into our Ask Ken Anything sessions for continued coaching for an entire year. And then you can, of course, always extend that as well. Of course, if you're already past that and you're ready to go and take your skills to the next level with Power Pivot and Power BI, you might want to check out our Self-Service BI Academy. This also includes the fundamentals and the Ask Ken Anything sessions and my books and my software, all kinds of good stuff here. It's a fantastic program that will really, really go and amplify your skills. So you can definitely check this one out as well. This meetup, as all meetups are, is recorded and will be posted to our Skillwave YouTube channel. Sorry, I just see it in the chat here, Scott. Are the previous Ask Ken Anything sessions available for new subscribers? Yeah, we actually post every one of them into an archive, so you can actually access all 140 recordings and counting of our Ask Ken Anything sessions. So the cool thing about this is that if you're trying to watch YouTube and you're bored and you need more Excel content, I have over 200 hours worth of Excel content there that you can go back and work your way through. I don't know anybody that's been through the whole library yet, but if you can take that on as a challenge, you just let me know. So, all right. Speaking of recordings, as I say, this meetup, along with all of our meetups, is recorded. Within 24 to 48 hours, we will be posting this on the Skillwave YouTube channel. If you RSVP'd for the meetup, which I assume that most of you did, you will get a notification from Meetup to let you know that it's live. Of course, if you're subscribed to our channel, you'll probably even get the notice a little bit faster than that. But we definitely encourage you to go and check out our YouTube channel as well. All right, I think the last slide is that, or my penultimate slide, I should say here. If you'd like to get involved, we are always looking for new speakers to come and share cool things around Excel, Power BI, or anything in the Power Platform stack. If you'd like to be on our show, just get in touch with us here at this short URL. By the way, you can download the slide deck from the Meetup site. It's already posted, so all the links are there. We would love to get in touch with you, get you on our show, and have you show us some of the cool things that you can do with Excel, Power BI, or anything in the Power Platform stack. As long as it ties in here, that's what we're looking for, and we're always, always looking for new speakers. And on that note, speaking of relatively new speakers, we're going to welcome Alison to the stage. So Alison, I'm going to turn over the slide deck here to you. I'll stop sharing my screen and let you share yours. And welcome to VanPug. We're super excited to have you with us and show us some cool things around the GoTo special.
And thank you so much. First of all, congratulations, you pronounced my surname correctly earlier. We didn't have that conversation, so well done.
There we go.
Most
Nice.
People get it wrong. Pollecutt, it's a difficult
Love
one.
that.
Most people in the UK don't know it either. So, but thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to talking to you a little bit about GoTo Special. I've seen a couple of familiar names already who are watching. So thanks very much, guys. Those of you that have seen this before. Those of you that hadn't, I really hope that you're going to get something from this that's going to help you to maybe do things a bit faster than you might currently be doing them, things that will help you, things that you don't yet know you don't know. So just a very, very quick thing about me. I've been using Excel for 30 plus years. My background is in project management, so my use of Excel has very much been around data collection, managing things, efficiency, productivity. I'm not an accountant. I don't come from that background, but I do have a good understanding of Excel to use to manage data and to understand data and to get information out of your data. So let me share my screen. There we go. There's the right button. There we go. So hopefully you guys can see that, and if you can't, Ken shout at me and tell me that it's not working, but hopefully
I'm gonna shout at you and tell you we can see it, so just
okay, even
positive
even
confirmation.
Oh, wonderful, thank you. No, better to know than not. So first of all, let's talk about what is GoTo Special. What does it mean? So GoTo Special is a tool that has been part of Excel Desktop, and I'm going to say that quite specifically for I don't even know how long, because I tried Googling it, and Google tells me decades. I mean, I'm not sure if it was in Excel at the beginning, but it's been around a very long time. The thing that I also discovered quite recently was there is no GoTo Special on Excel for the web, which I thought was quite strange. But there you go. I'm sorry, if you're only using Excel for the web, you're going to struggle with this because it doesn't exist there. Don't know why. Maybe Microsoft decided it's not a valuable tool there. I think it's great. I'm going to show you why I think it's great. So what does GoTo Special actually mean? Because it's a kind of a funny term, isn't it? Basically means select. So we're going to, or selecting something, and the tools that it has allow us to select things kind of based on special criteria, different ways that we can select things. And I'm going to show you some examples that will hopefully highlight how this will make life easier for you. Now, first of all, there are lots of different ways we can use GoTo Special, or we can get to it. I'm going to demonstrate some as we go through. But we've got, for example, if you're on the Home tab, so let me show you, depending on whether you prefer your keyboard, whether you prefer the mouse, some of these options will probably suit you better. I'm interchangeable depending on what I'm doing. Home tab here, and if you have a look, hopefully you can see up here where the Find and Select button is, we have GoTo Special. So if I click that, I get straight to the screen that you're going to see lots of times as I go through this presentation. But there are other routes. Now, some of these are kind of variations on a theme, but we can do Control G. So if you prefer the keyboard, Control G will come up. Now, Control G is nice and easy to remember, I think, because G for go to. So there we go. And while I'm here, we don't go straight into the screen, but I can press Alt and S, and I go to the GoTo Special screen. Again, I'm going to talk you through what all these wonderful things are. We can have Control, let's do this, Control and G, and I can click the special button straight there. I can do F5. It's got its own function key. So F5 takes me there, and I can do Alt and S. And again, this is going to be something you're very familiar with. We can F5 and press the button. We can right click and we can type go to special in the search bar. So if you can't remember where to find it, if you're on a version of Excel that's got this, you can go right click and search. And when I did this talk previously, I said, if anyone's got any different ways to do this, let me know. And the legend that is Bill Jelen said, aha, you've missed one. You can add it to your quick access toolbar. So I took it off my quick access toolbar earlier so I could show you how this works. Go back to find and select, go to special, right click, add to quick access toolbar. And here it is. It's I don't really know why, but it's a blue dot. So if I clicked on the blue dot now, I go straight to that screen. So nice and easy, lots of options. Pick the one you like, pick the one you think you're going to remember. I personally probably go mainly F5 and then Alt and S, but hey, you do you. So what do we use go to special for? How can it be useful to us? So there are two things that I find I mainly use it for. The first thing is it will help me to do things that I might otherwise be doing manually. So I will use go to special to select things that I might otherwise be doing on a click and click and click, and it just takes time. You've probably clicked the wrong thing. Go to special can help you do things in a more effective way, because I love efficiency and I love productivity. I love getting things done faster. And then the other thing I use it for quite a lot is I use it for identifying problems. So I predominantly train people, but it's not unusual for somebody to come to me and say, I've got a spreadsheet, Alison, can you help me with it? And I need to figure out what it's doing, maybe figure out why it's not working. And go to special is a great way to be able to find things that actually, to try and do that by eye, to try and do that manually, it's going to take some time. And it will help you find problems. And we're going to look at some examples to help you identify problems. One other thing to know, go to special, wherever you're using it, whichever option you pick to get to it, you're only working on the active sheet. Okay, so it's not like find and replace where you can choose to use it across the whole of your workbook. We're specifically just looking at the active sheet. Okay, so I've talked a lot about what it is. Let's get into it and I'll show you some examples. So I'm going to go to sheet one. I've got some data here. There's some bits and pieces all over the place here. We've got some dates, we've got some numbers, we've got some totals at the end in column F. But let's start by having a look to see what we've got on our go to special options. So I'm going to use the quick access toolbar. I couldn't remember what it was called for a minute then. And I'm going to click on that. And the first one we have is to select notes. Now, I think this is going to be kind of evident as you look at things like this, that go to special has been around for a long time and probably has not had the love it should have had from Microsoft, in my opinion, because we can only search for notes. We can't use go to special to search for the newer type comments. Now, if you have a look at my spreadsheet, you can see that I have got a little red triangle in this cell here in B7. I've got a little red triangle in this cell here. In fact, let's come out of them and let's look at our notes. We've got a note here. This is not a big number. I've got another note here. This is quite a big number, but I've got a new style comment, and this says this is the biggest number, jazz hands. So if we do go to special and we leave it on the primary section we've got there and we click notes, what will happen is we automatically get our notes, our cells with notes on selected for us. But you'll notice that it doesn't select the cell with comments because it's not an option. I'm really sorry. I tend to use comments more, but not always. It's not always the case that people will do that. So it can be quite useful to pick out all the cells that you need to focus on because somebody's added a note. And that, once you've got your cell selected, you could maybe go in and change the color. So it's nice and easy to find it again if you need to. Okay, so one down, more examples to go. So what else have we got? So I'm going to click this quick access toolbar again because it takes me straight there. We've now got a couple of options here that I think are useful to talk about together. So constants and formulas. Now you'll see under formulas, there are four options, four check boxes that are grayed out. We've got numbers, we've got text, we've got logicals, and we've got errors. If I click on formulas, it will highlight them. So I can choose. We're going to look at some of those things in a minute. Let's go back to notes. Interestingly, when I click on constants, it also enables them. So the thing we've got here is that whether you pick constants or formulas, you can then select all of those things you see, numbers, text, logicals, and errors, or you can pick any selection of those. I think it's a shame that this is maybe not laid out a little bit differently, because the bit that says constants is a little bit removed from those 4 check boxes, but trust me, it will work. So we are going to pick formulas as a starting point. Let me move this over out the way a little bit. And I am going to pick formulas. I'm just going to leave that ticked. I'm not going to all of those options ticked. So I'm just going to click on OK. And we can see very quickly we have selected all of the cells with formulas in. There are some cells in there that don't look like they've been selected. So those are things that would be worth investigating. And this is, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is how GoTo Special can help us to spot things that aren't working perhaps as we think they should be. So I quite like to use things like cell styles here to identify things as calculations. And again, I can click away, and now it's very clear that some of my cells, some of my values in column F don't appear to be formulas, and that might be a problem. So it's worth knowing about. So what we did there is we didn't select anything particularly on the sheet. We just went straight to GoTo Special, but we can tailor what we're looking at if that's what we want to do. So I could select column F by clicking on the F at the top. Sure, you guys know how to do that. And I could go back into GoTo Special. And if I go if I'm going to go to constants this time, and I'm going to look for everything that is a number. And I can click on OK. And we have got 3 cells selected. So now I could probably have clicked on all those and worked out that there was something going on, but we very quickly identified through GoTo Special that those are numbers. We don't have a lot of data here. It's not too difficult to work through this by eye and do it manually. But if you had considerably more information on screen, to try and do that with, just by eyeballing it, you're probably going to miss something. You might get it wrong. So I'm going to highlight these because these look to me like a problem. But again, if I click away, I've still got something that's not quite right because it's not been selected. And I've got a cell down here. Now, I know this is a piece of text, and if you know your way around Excel, you probably also know that because of the green triangle. But if I wanted to find out anything that was particularly a piece of text in my in a set of numbers, I can, once again, I'm going to select the column to make sure that I am limiting what I'm searching through to just that particular set of the data or part of the data. Click on the blue circle, and I'm going to go into constants. I'm going to untick these options. I'm going to select text, and we can see that we have got that one cell selected. And again, I'm just going to highlight that because it means I can have a look and I can go back for it. We've actually also got the total row selected as well because that was text, but there we go. We know that one's not a problem. It's just a title. So if I look at these, we know that they probably should be formulas. So I can sort that. Let's just sort this very quickly. Let's just make sure that all our formulas actually are formulas. And we can see those numbers some of those were way out. But we've used GoTo Special to pick out things that were problematic. They weren't necessarily obvious from looking at the spreadsheet. We've all seen things where we or somebody we love has typed over our formulas and changed it into a number, but it's a great way to be able to spot those things. It's also a really good way to try and understand what your spreadsheet is doing. If you haven't looked at it for a while, or if somebody sent you something and you want to try and figure out what's going on, go to Special, select different things, apply some cell styles so you know what's actually happening, and it can be a really good way to just get a feel for what's happening in your spreadsheet. Okay, so let's move on to sheet 1.1. Again, very simple data, nothing overwhelming or huge to look at, but we're just going to look at a slightly different option here. So I'm going to go for a different way of choosing GoTo Special. I'm going to do F5 and I'm going to do Alt and S. And this time I'm going to pick formulas again. But I need to click on it. That helps. And I am going to go for logicals. And if I click on OK, we can see that we have got our true and false values selected. So I might want to color those a certain color. Now I've got them selected, I might want to use some conditional formatting so I can see much more clearly which ones are true and which ones are false. So it's, again, a very good way to be able to quickly select things which might be across the whole of your spreadsheet, but allowing you to pick them out very easily and to then do something to highlight them. So we've got logicals, so we've got an option there. And then let me go to sheet 1.2. Again, not loads of data because I don't want to do anything that's too overwhelming, but just so you can spot what's going on here. I'm going to do F5 again, and I'm going to do Alt and S, probably my favorite. And I'm going to go into formulas. I'm going to untick all of these options because the only thing I want to look for is errors. I can see I've got some errors there. I'm going to highlight those so I can click away and spot all the things that are a problem. And why is this an error? It's because I have an XLOOKUP formula. It's looking up the value in column B. It's looking it up in the table that I've got there, but the value, the product code value, does not exist in my table. So I've got an error. I haven't used anything to highlight the error. I've just left it as an error. So let's fix that. K RY 596. And I don't know, let's say that's a hat. So we can fix that. We've spotted something that wasn't working, and it's allowed us to very quickly identify the things that we actually need to try and sort out. So there we go. We've got a few options we've covered there to help you get to know a little bit about what's going on in your spreadsheet, and to find some things that might not be working as you expect. So let's now have a look at sheet 2. So I've created something here, and I've realized after I've created it that I've done it wrong. So I've created, I've got a carried forward number, I've got an in, I've got an out, and I've got a balance, but my balance, that shouldn't be 24. That should be 14 minus 10. That should be a 4. What have I done? I've added all those numbers up. The problem I've got here is that I've done the same thing. I've copied the formula, and I've done the same thing in every single one of those columns. Now, there's not many to change, but it's still a manual process, right? And manual, don't like manual. The more we do things manually, the more we're likely to make mistakes. So let's try and make this easy and not make mistakes as we go through it. So let's change our first formula. Let's do B2 plus B3 minus B4. So this one's correct, but all our other values have updated, but they're still wrong. So, I mean, I've got a couple of options, right? I could copy, and I could paste, and I could delete the bits in between that I don't want. But again, no, don't like that, bit too manual. I could copy them. Oh no, I could copy and I could paste them all manually. But again, it's too manual. I don't like it. And actually, we've only got a few things to do here, but we might have a much bigger set of data that we need to change. So let's use GoToSpecial to make our lives easier. We're going to copy our formula, the one that's correct. We're going to select the cells that we want to look at. I'm going to click on the quick access toolbar, and what I want to do is I want to select my formulas. Very easy. I didn't need to specify whether they were numbers or errors or logicals or text. I just selected my formulas, and now I can press Control and V, and I can paste, and I have now got the values that correctly deduct the out value. So I've now got a rolling balance that actually works as it should have done. Okay, so that's a way that we can use it to make our lives a little bit easier. What else have we got here? So one of the things that I really like with GoToSpecial, particularly when you've got data that looks a bit like this, is you can use it to select blanks and get rid of those rows, because again, we've probably all had data that's coming like that. And I know, because I saw that Melissa had joined, and I know, and Ken will also say this, Power Query would be a great tool to do this. Of course it would, but sometimes it's just a little bit too much, and we just need to do something quickly. And if it's a one-off, GoToSpecial is just another way of achieving the same thing. So what are we going to do? We're going to do, I'm going to do Control and G this time. And I'm going to click the special button, and I'm going to select blanks. And if I click OK, it's not selected everything. I didn't pick a particular range of data on my spreadsheet, but it's allowed me, it's just picked things that are within the, the range of data that it sees, which is helpful, really helpful. And now I've got those things selected, I can now do Control and minus, so the shortcut key, move my mouse, move the cursor down, and I can select entire row. And I have got rid of all those blanks. Now, a word of caution if you're doing this, those of you that work with lots of data, don't do that if you think that any of those lines might have some blanks and some data in it, because if you select blanks and delete the entire row and you've got some data in that row, you're losing that data. So it's a great tool. Just make sure you understand your data first and you know exactly what's going on. Okay, I'm going to go back because we're going to put the blanks back. We're going to do something else because I've got some other little tricks here. So we have got we've got our blank selected. Now, what I would really like to do is I'd like to add up these numbers and these numbers and these numbers. So I want a total under each set of 3 numbers. Now, if I do, let's click here. If I do this and I select blanks, the bit we're missing is we're missing this bottom row. So I can do this manually if I wanted to. If you had a lot of data, or if you had various ways that you could you needed to do this, I quite like just having maybe like a little placeholder at the bottom that Excel thinks is part of our data. And if I now go and I select blanks, it includes that last row because it thinks the data continues a bit. So I'm just kind of fooling Excel a tiny little bit here. Now, I've got all those cells selected. If I wanted to add up the values in those cells, I don't know why you might want to do this, but it's just a nice little trick that I would quite like to show you. I can press Alt and equals, and straight away it runs through. Did you see that? Put all those totals in. And while I'm here, I'm just going to make that bold. And if we go and do F2, just to have a very quick look at what it's doing, pick any of those options, and there we go. It is adding up the 3 numbers above. But I've got one more little trick. I want to go back to selecting all those values that I've just put in. But I can't do that with blanks because they're no longer blanks. I could undo, but let's just use Go to Special again. If I do Go to Special, I'm going to select my formulas. I'm going to click on OK. Just going to delete them because I'm going to do something different here. And we can add, we don't have to just do sum. We can use other formulas. Sum's great because it's got its own shortcut, right? You probably use that one. But I can now, let's say I wanted to do the average. I can type my formula in. I can select my three cells above, and I can close my brackets for my average. Now, if I hit enter, this is only going to put the average in that one place in cell A4. But if I hit Control and enter, we have now got the average in all of those places below all of our 3 sets of numbers. So there we go. We have got use Go to Special to select parts of our spreadsheet or to select the formulas that we've put in. And then we've added some formulas in that tell us something about our data that might be useful. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to go to sheet 3.1. Now, this is one where, again, this is the wonderful Bill Jallen said, oh, this is a great trick. So I'm all credit to Bill. But I think this is a really good one for illustrating how selecting blanks can be so useful for us. And again, this is another thing you can do in Power Query, but as a one-off to do something quickly, sometimes this can be just the solution you need. Okay, so I'm going to do F5. I'm going to do Alt and S. I'm going to select blanks again, click on OK. And what we've done here is we've selected everything that hasn't got a value in, and I want to fill the values in from the row above, or the wherever there is data above it. So we saw this before. I can now type my formula. I can press equals. Now, because I'm adding the formula in C3, I need to reference the cell immediately above where I am adding my formula because I want the reference from the cell above. So I'm going to type C2. And we now know that to add the formula in, to make sure that we're not just putting it in one cell, Control and enter, we have got our data in there. Now we can see that this should be dates. We can format this as date values. That was months, but that's fine. I'm going to leave it. We're all good. Now, the only thing I would say is that it works. It does the job. But what I would probably suggest you do, particularly if you're going to do something with this data, is you might want to select it, copy, Control Shift and V to paste values. because otherwise that could get a little bit out of sync and you could end up with something that you didn't expect. Now, again, Power Query, we can do that, we can fill down, but Go-To Special might just be the solution you need to do something quick and easy. So finding blanks, pulling the value from the cell above, repeating it all the way down wherever you need. Right, so now let's move on. Sheet 4 is now I love these examples that I'm going to show you now. I think this is where Go-To Special is so powerful and so useful. I've got some columns here and they've got totals at the bottom. So let's just have a look. I'm going to press F2 and I can see that we have added up the data in the whole of that column. Fantastic. That's great. That's exactly what I want. That's going to do just what I want it to do. But what happens if somebody's gone and fiddled with those formulas? What happens if something has been changed and I don't know about it? Well, let's have a look and see whether we can figure out if there is a problem here. So I am going to select all of my formulas because those are the values that I want to look at. I'm going to do F5 again. I'm going to do Alt and S. There's the ones that come to mind because the ones I do quite often. Now I'm going to skip these bits down here. I'm going straight up to row differences. Come back to region, array, and objects in a little bit. I'm not going to demo them. I'll just talk to you about them. I'm going to pick row differences. Now what this does is it's going to look at the first or the cell that was active. So in this instance, I started with A13, and it's going to look at everything else that is in that row and tell me what matches A13. We know A13 is right. It's doing what we want. It's adding all those columns up. If I click on OK now, I've got 3 cells selected. So I'm going to highlight them. In fact, let's just use a cell star because I think that's bad. And what's happening here, if I press F2, is I have got a column where it's not adding up all my numbers. And here I've got another column, and here I've got another column. So some rascal has been in and has fiddled around with my formulas and has changed it. And it's not doing what I think it should be doing. So we have spotted using row differences that that's something that we need to change and something we need to fix. Okay. So, and I'm going to copy, you'll know how to copy the formulas, I'm sure, but we could just copy this across. I could select everything and paste, and there we go. We've now fixed the problem. We have got the same option here. So let's have a look here where we've got the formulas that are working across the row. So we're looking at everything that's working across that row. We have got an average that's working out the average of all those numbers. And again, I could scroll down this and I could visually check to see whether this is the same. But honestly, I've got better things to do in my day. So I'm going to use Go-To Special to make my life a bit easier. I'm going to select all the formulas. I'm going to do, let's go back up to the quick access toolbar. I'm going to choose column differences. I'm sure you can guess what this is going to do. If I click on OK, we have, let's put this back as well. We've got 2 things that have been highlighted for us. And again, we can see, no surprise here, that these are not doing what we thought everything was doing. They're not adding up the numbers, or they're not averaging the numbers across the whole row. So we've got a problem. And you know what? We need to fix it. So row differences and column differences are often a really, really good technique to try, I think, to make sure that the spreadsheet, you check one cell, is everything doing the same thing. Got one more example on this to show you, because sometimes things aren't quite what they seem. You think you know what you're doing, and then you look at something, it looks perfect, and then maybe there's something going on below the surface. So let's have a look at this block. We've got a row of 1s, a row of 2s, a row of 3s, etc. And I'm going to select them. I'm going to do, let's do Control G this time. Control G and click the button, something different. I'm going to go back to row differences. I'm going to click on OK. And we have got some things that are highlighted that on the face of it, don't make a lot of sense. So why is it that we've got those numbers highlighted? I'm just going to highlight those in yellow so I can come back to them and see them. So if I look at this number 2, and let's look up here, it's not a 2, it's 2.4, but it's been formatted so that I'm not seeing the decimal places. So if I look at the first value in that row, number 2, number 2, number 2, something that's not number 2, but it looks like it's number 2. And that The same is going on with number 1. It's 1.1. The same is going on with number 3. And the same is going on with number 4. They're not the numbers that you see on the screen. They've been rounded down. And that could be throwing your calculations. It's useful to know that just because something looks like it's doing a certain thing, might not be. Now, the thing that the way that this worked is that for row 1, it was looking at whether all these values, I selected like this, right? I started in column A. And our go-to special said, hey, look at all these values. Does it match the first one? Does that for row 1. It says, hey, look at all these values. Does it match the first one in row 2? Look at all these values. Does it match the first one, etc.? Great, that's fantastic. But let's just try this the other way around. I'll take those highlights away. If I start at the other end and I select from column J and I do go to special, I'm going to go to my quick access toolbar, row differences, and I click on OK and I highlight those, we have a different result. And the reason we have a different result is I started at the far end and that value was 1.1 and these values are all 1. So it can depend on where, make sure you know where you're starting, make sure that you're picking the right information as your starting point, but you can use go to special to help you highlight things in a particular sequence depending on how you select them. So we have had row differences, we've had column differences. Let's have another look at a little bit more here. So I have got a big spreadsheet. Somebody sent me this and I've got to try and get my head around it. And I want to try and find out what's going on with it. So I'm going to go into go to special. Let's do F5. Let's click the button. And I'm going to pick, we're going to jump a couple. We're going to pick visible cells only. Now, there's a lovely lady called Karen Rome in the Women in Excel group, and she did a tip on this not that long ago, and I thought, I'm stealing that. Sorry, Karen, I know you're probably not watching, but this is great because I love this. Visible cells only. If I click on OK, we can see that because it's not selecting things that are hidden, it's selecting what's visible, there are some very distinct rows and columns that we can tell are missing. Now, if you've got a big spreadsheet with lots of data, looking to see whether it goes A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4 isn't always going to be that reliable. We might miss it. We might do things like that manually and find that we've just missed looking at something properly. But we've used go to special to very clearly show us that there are definitely some hidden rows and definitely some hidden columns in this spreadsheet, and that might be really important depending on what I'm trying to do with it. So we've been able to highlight that in a really easy way. We don't have to rely on our ability to see the numbers and the letters clearly. We've been able to pick that out nice and quickly through go to special. So while we're in here, there is another option. Now I'm going to show you this. I haven't done this one before. I'm going to show you the trace precedence and trace dependence option. I'll be honest with you, as you probably know, in Excel there are often lots of different ways to achieve the same thing, and I don't particularly like this in go to special. I would much prefer to use the trace precedence and trace dependence that you can find in the formulas menu, which are here. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to go and show you them in this option. So what I've got is I've got some data where I've got a net value. I've got the VAT, which has been calculated based on this value up here. And I have got a gross value, which is my net plus my VAT. So I've got some formulas. I've got some stuff going on. So if I was to now click on the cell that's got the VAT in, I might be wanting to know which cells are dependent on this value. And we can do this with go to special. So let's pick a different option. Let's go to find and select, go to special. I never use the toolbar very much. I forget it's there. I just use the keyboard. If I now pick dependence, now again, precedence and dependence, both of them activate this direct only and all levels. I'm going to stick with direct only for this example, and I've clicked dependence. But if I click on OK, we have a number of cells selected, and all of those cells are dependent on this value in the VAT cell up here. I've named it VAT, but they're all dependent on it. Again, like we saw where I was looking for formulas and I was looking to see where there were formulas and where some things weren't formulas, which was the problem. By using trace precedence and trace dependence, it's quite helpful to be able to see if something isn't working as you expected. So let's do that again. Let's do go to special, because I clicked away and I should have left it as it was. You can see from those selected cells that they are all dependent upon that value. But if somebody had changed it or typed it and I wasn't using that VAT value, then that could be a problem with my spreadsheet. Maybe somebody's put a different VAT amount in. For those of you, sorry, this is a UK tax thing, value added tax. I realise that probably is something I should have explained, but it's the tax that we will have on goods and services. So it can be really helpful to see that. And we can also, if I click on this value here, I can do F5, Alt and S, and I can pick the precedence. I'm going to leave it as direct only. And once again, what I have now is I've got cells selected that are the ones that feed in to the value I had selected in the VAT. I had J2 selected, and the things that are causing the calculation in there to be £12 is the 59.99 multiplied by 20%. So we're nearly there. I have got one more sheet to show you. And I think these are some of my favorite examples, if I'm completely honest. So we have got some options in GoTo Special that I think are absolutely worth every penny you've ever paid for it. Okay, we can, let's go and have a look. We have got conditional formats and data validation. So remember, GoTo Special is helping us to select things. We can use it to help us select cells that have got conditional formats, cells that have got data validation, and both of these options, again, layout of this screen is not as clear as it could be, but these all and same options, if I click on conditional formats, these radio buttons are made available to me. Same for data validation. So these two radio buttons will be applicable for both looking at conditional formats and looking at data validation. So let's start off with conditional formats. I am going to just leave it as all, and I'm going to click on OK. And again, it just works on the sheet. It's not working across the whole workbook. You might have to go through multiple sheets, but I've straight away selected all the cells that have been set up on the sheet with conditional format. Fantastic. Sometimes just trying to find that stuff can be really, can be quite painful, especially if you've got a lot of different formats. Trying to find all the ones that have got something going on can be quite time consuming. GoTo Special makes your life easy. But are they all the same? Are they all set up as I expect them to be? Because we've got a number of numbers here that are highlighted in green. I'm going to click away. You can see more easily, but I've got various numbers highlighted in green. But this number here, why is that one not highlighted? Because I've got 501. 534 is not highlighted. So, oh, that's perhaps a little bit strange. What have we got? So let's click 501. Let's pick a particular value to check. And we're going to do, I'm going to do F5 again, click the button, conditional formats. I want to know which cells have conditional formats that are the same as the one that I've got selected. If I click on OK, something's gone wrong here. They're not the same. They're all conditionally formatted, but they're not all the same formatting. And if I go into this and I have a look, I can see, change to this worksheet, I've got two different things here. One is showing me conditional formats greater than 500, and that's, you can see, it's these ones here. And then this rule is showing us conditional formats that are greater than 550. Now that's probably not what I want to happen. It's probably got a bit out of whack. I probably want to go in and change that, but now I know, and it's been really easy to spot there was an error by finding out which cells had conditional formatting on it and then having a look to see where that problem was. Okay, so data validation. So it's a bit like, for me, I feel data validation is a bit like conditional formatting. It's there, but it's not always that easy to spot. It's kind of hidden away a little bit, which is great. It's a great tool, but where exactly do we have that set up? Particularly so, I think, with data validation. So let's go back to let's do F5. Let's do the special button, data validation. Let's click and move that out of the way. All of the cells that have data validation. Brilliant. So we can see it's this whole list. So I've been in and I've asked a load of people, what's their favorite social media platform? And they've given me some various options. And those are the ones that have got data validation set up. And I've just created a very simple list, nothing fancy. I haven't done anything clever. I've just got a little list which has got my values in there. So let's say I've had a chat with Benjamin, and Benjamin says, I love TikTok. Oh, I love making those videos. I love doing those dances. I like TikTok. Right. Okay, Benjamin, let's make sure that we've got that recorded for you. Oh, hold on a second. I haven't got an option to put in TikTok, and it won't let me because it's not in the list. But James has got TikTok. How has that worked? Oh, James has got something different going on. He's got some extra values in there, but it's not applying to all of the things in my list. So let's see if we can track this down through Go to Special. So I'm again selecting the cell that I want to find, well, where I want to find everything that's the same. I'm going to go, let's go find and select, Go to Special, data validation, and I want to pick same because I want to look for everything that's the same as this particular cell's data validation. Click on OK, and see what I've done is I've made a mistake here. I've only changed 2 of them. I should have changed all of them, and I forgot. Didn't select everything, didn't apply to all cells, and now my lists don't match, and that's a problem. So we can fix this nice and easily. I like this one. This is a trick that I enjoy as well. It's got something a little extra, not Go to Special, a little extra for you. So I'm going to select the cell I want to copy. I'm going to press copy. I am going to go to Special. I'm going to select all the data validation. So these are all the things that I want to have the same values. And then I'm going to go to the paste menu. I'm going paste special. And if I tick valid or check validation here and click on OK, I have copied the data validation values, but I haven't overwritten it with TikTok. I haven't changed anything of the choices that people have already picked, but I have picked all my values, and I have now got a list that means that everybody and anybody who loves TikTok can tell me they love TikTok. So that was, I think, probably one of my favorite. That and blanks are probably my favorite uses of Go to Special. So few other little things that I want to mention, because I'm kind of nearly there with the demo, but let's go back to this find and select button. So you'll see that we know the Go to Special option is there, but there are some things here that will actually help us if we want to do things even faster. We can just use this option to select formulas. So there's some kind of little shortcuts that are built into this menu. If I click this, we can see all of our formulas. And we've got notes. I haven't got any notes on this page. We've got conditional formatting. So again, we've got a little shortcut there. We've got constants, so we could pick all our constants. And we've got data validation that takes us straight to anything that's got data validation. So it's another kind of a little shortcut for you. And there are a few options. I just wanted to mention very quickly. There's a few things I didn't go through on here. So I didn't go through current region. Current region is the same as selecting a cell and Control A, and it will select the current region for you. You may have done that already. I tend to find that doing it with the keyboard is quicker, so I don't use it for Go to Special. Current array. This is another thing that shows us how long Go to Special has been part of our world in Excel. This is nothing to do with dynamic arrays. This is the old style Control Shift and Enter for old style array formulas, and it will select your array. I don't know if anybody uses those anymore. I haven't used them for such a long time, but it's there. It would be lovely to have an option for dynamic arrays, but it doesn't exist at this point in time. Objects, so if we selected objects, if you've got charts, if you've got shapes, anything like that, Go to Special Objects will select it for you, which is fantastic. And I didn't pick last cell. I didn't give you that option, but I'm going to, bit of homework, go and play with that one. But it will select the last visible cell on your spreadsheet. So I think that has now covered all the things that I wanted to show you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and if you've got any questions, please throw them my way.
Awesome. Thank you, Alison. All right. So if anybody wants to throw any questions in the chat, please do so. I just want to make a quick comment on go-to special objects. One of the things that I find that really, really useful from is every now and then I actually have to copy data out of a web page and paste it into Excel. And I don't know why, but well, I do know why, but like, sometimes it comes with a whole bunch of like little check boxes or buttons or things. Sometimes they're not visible. Go-to special objects is amazing because it'll select all of them, so you can press the delete key and make the darn things go away, which is absolutely brilliant. So
yeah, it's a great option. I wish I should have put that. I'll put that in the next time I do this presentation.
There you go. I was going to say, there you go. It's a demo for you.
You inspired it. But yeah, you're right. That's a great example.
All right. So what do we have here? So we got a couple of comments on go-to special being an auditor favorite. One thing I'd love to add that doesn't get as much love, except for the most basic use, is how powerful find and replace can be using formats and options. I would agree with that. I use find and replace all the time. I think particularly when you're trying to get people to prep you data for an example and they don't want to share things with you, it's like, this is such a useful tool to go through things quickly. It's so hard to watch somebody go and overtype one value and then try and find the matching value and overtype it with the same value and whatnot. About as fun as watching them pick up a calculator to do their math and then put it into Excel, which we've all seen. What else do we have here? Pay special and other frequently overlooked in formulas. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to assume that most people here know that they've now added a new shortcut for pay special values to Excel. It used to be that you have to Control C, and then, I mean, there was a variety of ways to get into it. I always used to go Control Alt V, V, Enter, but you can now get there with Control Shift V is a quick shortcut. So that's a nice change there. Pay special values and transpose. I use
that all the time, Ken. That one very quickly became part of my repertoire.
I still press Control Alt VV. I mean, I got like 20 years of that burned into muscle memory. I cannot get past it, right? Like, it's so fast. It's like by the time I'm done, I'm like, oh wait, I could have done that with less keystrokes. But it is what it is. Pay special value and transpose before transpose was introduced. Before transpose was introduced, hasn't transpose always been there? Or are we talking like?
Gosh, I think that's been there a long time, but yeah.
Or maybe before the transpose function was introduced. Maybe that's what GG means. Yeah, it could be. I don't even remember working without the transpose function, to be honest with you. Yeah, okay, you meant function. Fair enough. There you go. Yeah, outside of that, I mean, what we've got in the chat here is just lots of positive comments about how people enjoyed the presentation. So again, folks, if there's any questions, please ask. Don't hesitate. I'm sure Alison would love to take one.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic.
I hope really that whether there's questions or not, I just hope people maybe have seen something that they didn't know was there, because I mean, go-to special, it's been in Excel, the desktop version, for so long. But it's not new, and it's not sexy, and it's not, it's not kind of, shiny, but it's so useful. So I just hope that people have got something that will make their workflow a little bit quicker. That would make me happy.
Yeah, no, and absolutely. And it's funny because I know when you first pitched the session to us too. So you sent it to my wife who looks after these things, and she said to me, she says, is there really enough material to do a whole session on go-to special? And it's funny because you sit there and you go, well, yeah, no, there really is. Like, but you're right. It's not a sexy thing, but it is like there are so many things that it can do that people don't realize. Yeah. So I think it's fantastic just to be like reminded of some of the cool things there. Yeah, Heather says the row column difference is one that she hasn't used or realized was there before. Love that. So, and I mean, I'll certainly say that when I saw the with the blank columns in between everything, I'm like, oh, right. So you can go and select the formulas across that without having to go click, control click, control click, control click, control click. Yeah. It's just the little things that you forget about, right? So no, very, very cool stuff. Awesome. Go-to special is extremely sexy. If you know, you know. There you go. Yes. Awesome. All right. Well, if there are no other questions that are coming into the chat, Alison, thank you so much for coming and doing this. This was a fantastic session. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to hopefully having you back in the future to show us something else that's new and cool and maybe not sexy but super useful. It is amazing. Don't forget, folks, that our next two meetups are available for signing up already. We will get the recording of this posted up in the next 24 to 48 hours. Thank you all so much for coming. Again, Alison, thanks for a fantastic presentation. Great stuff. And we will see you all again in future. So long for now.